Jason with Chicago News, and you'd think I'd be really excited because we got a station wagon to test this week. This is the 2018 Subaru Outback. Found out though, driving it, it's not really that exciting. It's not like you'd expect a car like this to be extremely exciting. It's just that this is a lot of money for essentially a big, heavy, slow car. You're seeing a bit of a resurgence with station wagons in the marketplace, but every manufacturer seems to think, and Subaru kind of started this, that their wagon should be raised up, have a lot of ground clearance, and kind of have some elements of an SUV. Except that one of the benefits of a station wagon is it's got more car-like handling. So in terms of this, it's having a bit of an identity crisis, as the Outback always has. Is this an SUV or is this a wagon? So this Outback is all new for 2018, but when they gave us a list of what's new, the number one thing are these headlights. There's some changes to the bodywork front and back. Why is it that all manufacturers think that just by changing the shape of the headlight, they've got an all new car? This particular generation of Outback came out in 2014, and it even felt a little bit dated right when it came out. It certainly does look a little nicer with these changes, but ultimately this is the same car. In the documentation Subaru gave us with this test vehicle, it said it was a 3.6 liter. Now, that flat 6 makes 254 horsepower. This, however, is a 2.5 liter 4-cylinder. Not sure why the mix-up, but you can see one of the advantages of a boxer layout. When they call an engine a boxer, it means that it's a flat, opposed cylinder. So the two cylinders fire opposite each other, as opposed to an inline engine. What it allows you to do is mount the engine really low and flat in the car. It lowers the center of gravity. Of course, they've ruined that by raising the whole vehicle up. This 2.5 liter only has 173 horsepower, and this is a lot of car to tow around. So let's hop in and see just how slow it is. Behind the wheel of this Outback, the first thing you notice is some of the materials on the inside here are much warmer, richer feeling than they have in past Subarus. They've done a really nice job here. The positives kind of run out after that. You know, these materials are great, but otherwise the content's pretty spare, and the seats are not very comfortable at all. They're very flat, bench-like. They don't have a ton of support. Also a little bit on the firm side. You know, we didn't really get a chance to do a long enough drive to see how they stand up, but just initial feeling is they're not very comfortable. This 2.5 liter boxer engine just doesn't have enough to move this big heavy car around. You know, around town at low speeds, stoplight to stoplight, it's got a decent amount of torque. The CVT transmission keeps it right in the torque curve, so that right when you tip in the throttle just a little bit, you get good motivation. The problem comes in if you try to floor it, you really get nothing. I mean, that's barely more acceleration than we were getting with just 5% throttle. So they've really engineered this so that you get a lot of response with that first part of the throttle. You don't get much more after that. One of the other changes that they've noted for 2018 is some sound deadening improvements with the windows and in the cabin. And you do notice that it is a bit quieter. The boxer engine can have a bit of a rough sound to it. It's really insulated well from that and road noise as well. That's one improvement we definitely can notice. You know a car company is reaching when they tell you about the new features of their model year, and they're telling you things like the tire pressure monitor now monitors all 4 tires as opposed to just telling you one of them is low. I mean, that's a feature that pretty much any car has these days, is individual tire pressure warnings. So the fact that they're touting that as a big achievement shows you there's really not much new in here. The infotainment system is new. You've got Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, but we noticed it's a little bit slow and laggy. So you get a text message through the system and you go to respond. If you get another message incoming, all of a sudden the whole thing slows down and it's even locked up on us. So it's nice to have the connectivity, but this system doesn't seem fast enough to keep up. Tech-wise, another problem we've noticed is another thing that shouldn't even be an issue, and that is with automatic door locks. We've a couple times left this parked and come back to it. Oddly enough, with the flashers on, it seems to only do this where you can't get back into the car. That won't unlock with either the button or with the automatic lock with the door handle. And it takes a while. The first time, it took us a while to figure out that you can actually go and grab the trunk handle, and that'll wake the whole car up and allow the key to start working again. So if this is one of the new features for this model, I doubt that Subaru intended for it to be. So we're merging on the freeway here. You can hear when you push it, there's a real rough sound to the engine. It doesn't sound very smooth at all. well. I tripped off the collision alert. You hear that was beeping at me. Ultimately, at cruising speeds, this is quiet, but it gets kind of frenetic when you get on it. Again, we'd love to try the 3.6 liter version of this. You know, we joked about the headlights being new and that being something that's supposed to be a great feature, but they actually are really nice headlights. They've got an adaptive feature as you steer at night. They turn to kind of guide you where you're steering. You've got LED day running lights, so at least they are an improvement over the previous version. You know, as nice as some of the materials are on the inside, and some of the ergonomics are better as well. They've actually moved the heated seat buttons with the rest of the controls as opposed to them being in the center. As much as these materials are improved on the interior, you do have some things that make you scratch your head. There's 3 different color illumination for different parts of the dash here. You've got the cluster with the gauges as blue, you've got the heating controls as red, and you've got the infotainment as white, different backlights. So it just is a little bit odd that there'd be different colors there now. It is 4th of July in Chicago, and maybe they're doing a little patriotic red, white, and blue tribute, but can't really see a reason why they'd be different other than maybe to make it easier to go for the right section at night. But overall, the feeling, especially for a car at this price point, is that they didn't really think everything through. You watch any Subaru ad these days and they talk about safety as one of their primary drivers, and this car has a full suite of safety features. You've got lane assist, you've got radar cruise, collision alert, blind spot monitors, all the different features that you would expect. We did find, though, that they're not quite calibrated as nicely as we'd like. The lane alert kind of goes off a little sooner than you'd like, and a couple of the other features are a little intrusive. Overall, if you're shopping for safety, Subaru is a good choice. One thing there is no shortage of in this Outback is space. You've got tons of leg room, headroom, shoulder room, backseat room, and certainly cargo space. One of the benefits of a wagon is you've got that cargo area. You can fold the seats down. You can carry just about anything that you want. As far as the handling goes, it's about what you would expect. A little bit of understeer. The nose tries to go straight as you try to turn. You know, this isn't a performance wagon. This is a utility wagon. The Harman Kardon sound system that's attached to this infotainment does sound fantastic. So even if the system is slow itself, at least you have some good music to listen to.
You know, beat music can help you say what you're feeling. Try this.
I really do have to give Subaru credit for improving the ergonomics. They used to have buttons strewn everywhere. They've now concentrated most of the buttons here to the steering wheel. The HVAC controls are centralized. You've got a couple buttons here, but overall, it's just a much cleaner interface with the car than that used to have. Okay, another example of there not being that much to talk about. Subaru is touting a new, larger, easier to read clock as one of the new features for 2018. A little bit of a stretch there as that being a feature. Automatic locking doors are standard on all models. Again, they're reaching. So what are our conclusions about this 2018 Subaru Outback? Well, it's big, heavy, and slow. We can get that much out of the way. It'd be really interesting to try the 3.6 liter version. With a little bit more power, this might be a little bit more engaging, but ultimately, this is kind of a boring car for kind of a boring buyer. It's safe and reliable, but it doesn't really have the warranty to back that up. And when you consider the price, you're really not going to get one of these for much below $32,000. Our test vehicle here is up over $36,000. That's a lot of money for essentially kind of a yawner of a vehicle. It's a shame because I love station wagons, but this really wouldn't crack my top 10 list for 2018. Hopefully, besides just the headlights, we get something new soon.